Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Kenneth, I can
Can
hear
you
you.
see my face?
Actually, no. I can't see your face.
Okay,
I can
think I
only.
know why. Now I think should be okay.
Okay, I can see your face now. Now I wonder how should I. Okay, I can see.
There's a corner at the lower left
Yeah.
side. Oh, how come your background is nicer than mine?
It's actually I think it was AGILENT Korea.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got two. One is completely white, then the other is completely blue, like this one.
Oh yeah, I think we have to use the one from
Teeny, right?
Teeny, right? Teeny didn't send it to me, I think.
I asked her, then she sent.
Oh.
Actually, only when I asked, she sent. And I noticed Stephen started using it. So that would be okay.
Okay, maybe if you don't mind sending it to me so that I can use it now.
Sure.
Yeah.
This time I also tend to be, how should I say? I deliberately use only one screen.
So that it will be safer for you,
no
right?
chance of making any mistakes.
Okay.
Because when I do the training on the first day, the informatics training, got a bit of hiccup because I was using so many screens.
Yes.
Yeah. Then this time I thought because it's to the public, so I better be safer.
Okay, I think I found Teeny's email also. I just realized she sent. Yeah, I found it already.
Okay, then it's okay. Because afterwards I'll close the Outlook. Just fewer things on the desktop, fewer program running, and it's always a good thing.
Okay. Yeah, I just remember that I used this background for the other Zoom meeting with Unitama. Okay, I'll use this. Okay. Okay, Tini also can hear me. Okay.
He just said that's just after lunch. So hopefully can see some people coming in.
Hai Bu Melda.
Halo. Halo Pak Fatur, Pak Doan.
No, Alex.
Hi.
Oh, Alex. Pak Alex, okay.
Because Pak Fatur cannot join, so suddenly I should change him.
Udah ada Pak Alex tapi.
Okay.
Okay, I think you guys can see me. I think I'll just need to wait another 9 minutes anyway, so can take my sweet time. Let me just arrange my desk.
I will start when it's just right at 3.
Yeah. I think I'm the first of the 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm the Mr. Guinea Pig. Okay. Anyway, I've done this many times in my previous life. Now I guess I have to start doing all this again.
Yeah, okay lah.
And the lab Indo start today, right? So actually it's only started this morning. I haven't go in and look around yet. So after this I finish, then I will I think I need to register as a guest, then go in, then I will be able to start browse around. And I presume there's no translation, right? So basically I just go slowly. all the way through, I
Yeah,
presume.
no translation. The only translation that I can do later on will be for Q&A in case anyone asks in Indonesian.
Yeah, so I also be mindful to speak slowly.
Okay.
And my session, all the slides all together should be about 45 minutes, correct?
Yeah,
Roughly.
but the Q should be slightly lesser than that because there will be
Yeah.
Q&A.
Yeah.
Just give
Slightly
about
than that.
5 minutes.
Okay, maybe 35. Okay, I will try to manage my time.
Okay.
I got about 40 slides, so but no problem because some of the slides don't need to talk.
Okay.
Then it's okay. Anyone from AGILENT? I thought you yourself, Tini, I suppose.
Yes.
And there's, I presume right now, is it already open to public, the WebEx? Not WebEx, the Zoom.
I'm not too sure actually. They mentioned
Yeah.
like we'll just start at 2.
Yeah, so I presume will be 2, and I presume they record the WebEx. I keep saying WebEx. They actually record the Zoom. I'm not sure.
I think they are because you can see the recording.
Oh, okay, excellent.
Yeah, and then Tini actually messaged me saying that she could hear what he said already.
Which means everybody can hear, I presume. Okay, then in that case, I'll just stay silent for the next few minutes. Then I will just about exactly 1 p.m. Jakarta time, then I can start. I presume there's someone to introduce.
I will be the one introducing.
Okay,
that's what
excellent.
they mentioned.
Excellent.
So
okay,
when
so
it marked at 2 p.m. our time, I will just start.
yeah, so I will keep mute the mic now, and I will start again a few minutes later.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, the question I need to ask is how do I share my slides? I forgot to ask this question.
There is a share screen at the bottom.
At the bottom, where?
Yeah.
Share screen.
When you
Okay,
hover,
got it.
yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
You can share host only. Okay. I think it's 2 o'clock. So let me just share my presentation, share the screen.
And I will start as well. I think we have some participants in as well.
And I presume you can see my screen.
Yes, but yeah, now I can see it. Okay, sure. I'll start now. Okay. Good to go?
Yes, I'm good to go.
All right, sure. Hello, everyone. Welcome to AGILENT Technology Technical Webinar in Lab Indonesia. Today, we are going to talk about how AGILENT solution is able to help you managing your laboratory data. My name is Melda Tan, and I will be your moderator today. Today, we are having the presentation from our speaker, Kenneth Ng, our AGILENT Lab Informatics Business Managers. Following the presentations, we will be running a live Q&A session. Before we start the session, I would like to go through a few housekeeping. We'd love to hear from you during today's presentation. If you have a question that you would like to address to us, please send it through our Q&A window, which is on the panel below your screen. When you're sending your question, please select all panelists in the drop-down menu and type your question in the text box provided. You can ask your question in English or Indonesian language, whichever more convenient for you. We will be addressing all the questions during our Q&A session. As the time is limited today, if we did not get to your questions during the session today, we will follow up with you afterwards. So without further ado, let's get things rolling. Kenneth, please.
Hey, thanks, Melda. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kenneth, and I'll be your speaker today. And the topic of today's presentation is change the way you manage your lab data with OpenLab ECM XT. I would like to take this occasion to introduce this tool to you, especially nowadays with all the concerns on data integrity, securities, and so on. Managing and not losing your data not only is to meet any regulatory requirements and also to ensure the organizational knowledge is being retained. So let's get started. I will be going through this agenda, and it's actually based on few parts. The first one is to highlight what are the challenges you face today and how this tool is able to help you. And in terms of managing your data, and the first thing of managing data is always to capture and store in an organized way. And so that as later on, as when you need it, you can actually retrieve it as an when it's required. And when we say data, that's a lot of what we say instrument data, as well as all kinds of documents and files as well, which I'll show you later on. Now, data is only part of it. Then how about your reports? Any laboratory nowadays generate many reports, and again, for regulatory requirement, they have to actually keep it for a certain period of time. And that duration will very much depending on the requirement of the regulatory requirement that you need to follow, or actually also the policy in your own organization as well. So the idea really is to reduce the amount of paper and the cost of storage of paper, as well as to be able to find the right file in the convenient and a quick way as well. There's need to access the data is very important. We always say it's very easy to actually capture all the information, but when time comes, you want to find it, you may have a hard time doing it. In America, we always say, you are trying to find a needle in a haystack. So that's something that we try to avoid as well. And the other part is that any solution that we have, we also need to take into consideration that is able to grow as your organization change. So we'll cover this, and at the end, we will have a little bit of Q&A if any question as well. Now, before I go into ECMXT, I would also like to just give you an overview. This is the ISA 95 model, and if you want to know more information, you can actually easily just to Google it. ISA stands for International Society of Automation, and there are different levels. And you can see the one green are the ones that is actually more at the enterprise level and the business level, like the enterprise resource planning software, the manufacturing execution system. And then as you go lower, you go down to the area closer to the lab. LIMS is somewhere in between. That's why you see there's a gradient of color green as well as color blue. And as you go further away from the business side to the laboratory side, and you see the connectivity instruments. And of course, we all know CDS, stand for chromatography data system, right? And that's allowed you to control and also process and generate the results from your LC-GC instruments. And there's also electronic laboratory notebook, which is really something that start getting more attention. And sometimes you can hear the word LES, Lab Execution System. In fact, it's not the scope today, but actually AGILENT is moving into this area as well. So just stay tuned. Coming back to home, the focus today is really on this portion in the red box, which is what we call ECM. ECM stands for Enterprise Content Manager. And sometimes people also may refer to be as SDMS, Scientific Data Management System. So you may hear SDMS or you may hear ECM. And ECMXT is particular a solution that we have that allow us to run on top of our data system, especially chromatography data system. So then, of course, the big question we ask is, what are the laboratory challenges today? And after all, I mean, the title of this presentation is how to change the way you manage your data. Essentially, there are really, I would say there's few major challenges. One is to collect and organize and also secure the data. For some of the organization, this is almost a no-brainer because there's requirement to do that, especially in the area of pharmaceutical. Now, of course, we talk about 21 CFR Part 11. We talk about data integrity, and all these are required by regulation to actually secure the data. But that's actually not confined only to pharmaceutical industries. Nowadays, with issue coming on data integrity, data security, and traceability, and we start seeing even other industry getting more concerned in this area as well. So all your instrument data are being collected, organized, and stored in a structured way, so that later, as and when you need it, whether it's you need it for your R&D or whether it's for audit or for other purposes, you're able to retrieve the information very easily and quickly. So second one, of course, is all your reports. And while you have all the instrument data that you generate, at the end, all this data will turn into information. And this information are stored typically in your reports. And ability to generate reports and then to be able to capture the information inside and to be able to search and retrieve, that will be a key criteria in today's world as well. And of course, the third one I actually mentioned a little bit earlier as well is the finding the information. Now, just imagine a scenario. Someone put all the information in a way you can think of like a garbage bin. I can put a lot of junk, or I wouldn't say junk, but a lot of different pieces of things into the bin. But I just happened to drop a screw inside the bin. And now suddenly I realize I need to look at it. then you can see all the mess that you need to take in to find the information, right? So I think the critical thing is that to be able to have things to capture the information in a structured way, and to be able to have an easy and fast way to retrieve the information really is the critical piece of utilizing this kind of tools. And that's exactly what ECMXT does. It's a centralized data storage system. And it's what we call, sometimes we say client server, which means it's server based. And like the picture shown below, it allows you to capture different kinds of information. I will elaborate a bit more on the files and instrument later. And really what it provides is a security. So then you meet your compliance requirement, and security where is password protected, so only the right person can access the right information. And of course, everything is audit trail. So anything happen with ECMXT is traceable. And last but not least, allow you to search information in the organization, which allows a better collaboration among the teams as well. And you may consider, okay, this one maybe is only for AGILENT certainly have a wide range of products, but it's not confined to only AGILENT data. Any other non-AGILENT data can be captured, even some other vendors' data system. We can actually utilize ECMXT to archive their data directly as well. So that's really emphasized a few points I just mentioned. Automatically organize, collect, organize, and store data. Automatically store the files and reports so that it reduces time and also the cost of storage. In the past, when you try to keep all the documents, whether in a paper format, it definitely actually take up a lot of space. And even nowadays, with all the electronic files, if you don't capture it in an organized way, that is easily searchable and retrievable. And once you store it, you may have a hard time finding it. That's why the ability to find the information is actually very critical as well. And I will elaborate a bit more later on in this presentation. And the reality of having this kind of solution is also, we know that any organization is dynamic. So what that means is over time, you might need to have more instruments. You might actually have more users, especially when your organization expands. And as your organization expands, you have more instruments, naturally you generate also more data. And that's where all the capacity can be added. And the important point, which I'll highlight a bit more later on, is the simplicity, or in order to add all these into the existing system in ECMXT. Now, how do we do that actually? The first, I would like to ask you a few questions, and whether you have, I mean, these are the common questions we ask in order to understand what are the requirements that you might have. Do you have a retention policy? That's very, I would say, standard in today's world. And do you have how do you secure your data? And can anyone go in and change the data or alter the data? Because if that happens, means there might be security issue. There also can be compliance issue as well. And also whether you put all the information in the secure location. Now, always remember, if you put all the information in your computer, and if someone damaged that computer, all the data in that computer is gone, right? In the case of a client-server system, data can be secure remotely. So even the computer is being, let's say, maybe damaged, you can still retain your records and so forth. And especially for those in the pharma world, the phrase that we always use is, if there's no record, that means it never happened. So we definitely don't want that to happen to you. and also the archival policy. There's always this little bit just clarification needed between backing up data and archiving data. When you back up data, you really just make a copy. So in the event that your computer have issue, you can restore and recover, right? But archive actually means long-term storage, means when data getting older, the chance of you needing to access them is less. And if you keep in your current system, whether it's a file structure or it's a database structure, very often you end up seeing the performance of the system also degrade. So it's so much better have a way as the data become older and it's less likely you will use it. It's much better to archive the data in a secure way for long-term storage as well, right? And the challenge sometimes is we know we have to do that, but from time to time, because so many other things involved, we may forget. So it'll be much nicer if there are ways that can do that automatically, right? And that's where some of the capabilities of ECMXT comes in. This one of the two inside ECMXT is called import scheduler. And what it does is really monitor all the instrument computers in your network. And based on the criteria that you set, if you scan through the network, and if they met the criteria, it will automatically move the data from your instrument computers in the network into the secure central server. So what that means is that I do not need to remember when I need to archive my data. I will set the schedule automatically. Can be 1 week, can be 2 weeks, 1 month, few months, 1 day, whichever time you want. And also certain other settings that indicate that I really want to remove it. And then you go to the central server. So once it's being taken away, then you free up more space for here. And also in some cases, actually also not letting your system here performance degrade as well. So, and definitely you will not forget because it's all automated. So that is mainly one of the way. And the second way of doing is in fact is a more elegant way, is through some of the solution that we have. Now with ECMXT, connect to some of our solution, whether it's OpenLab CDS software, in this case, whether it's workstation of a client server system, OpenLab CDS Camp Station, or even ICP-MS Mask Hunter software. If you have this solution connect to ECMXT, essentially what it does is integrate the whole as one single platform. So what that means is, if I'm doing work here, as and when data is generated and so forth, it will automatically store in the server right away. And then as when I need to retrieve the data, I will automatically get the data from the server as well. So it becomes a very seamless integration of the different platform. And that I would say is probably the best way of leveraging the benefit of ECMXT. And for those who have the CDS client server, they can just simply upgrade to the ECMXT system. And while this is what we have today, I would assure you that there are more integration coming along of other systems as well. Like for example, maybe UV, maybe LCMS, LCMS-MS going forward in the future. So these are all the tools that we try to provide a seamless and smooth experience using different kinds of software platform. Now, we talk about automatically capture the data. What if I actually want to do it manually? Sometimes I would like to upload some data. I would like to search and just grab data from ECMXT. Now, that's perfectly doable. And you can see on the right, this is actually a web page. It's a web browser. And also highlight to you that actually ECMXT is really using very much a web-based interface, and therefore is actually very straightforward and important. And it could be, for example, Microsoft Edge, or it could be Google Chrome. And from there, you can open the web page, and you can just drag and drop the file into ECMXT. Of course, before you do that, you must have the right access in order to log in, and so that you have the right privilege in order to be able to do the things you do. And also, every step of the way, it will be audit trail. So all the action are being captured as well. Now, that we talk about, all the different files, instrument data, and so forth. Well, what about another piece of the lab that really generate a lot of information for us? And that's actually all the reports. And although nowadays I would say paper-based reports is largely reduced, but still I can still see huge amount of reports and in paper today, especially in a lot of the clients that we have today in the country. And there are some of the questions we typically ask. How much time you actually file your report? Because paper-based report is always difficult. Even file-based report, you also have to be very careful to file structure accordingly, and make sure you don't lose any report and misfiled it. And especially for those in the regulated environment, how easy to retrieve the information for the inspector, for the audits, and for the investigation. So that's another piece that's commonly the kind of pain that people face. And the other thing, of course, I just mentioned is you try to find some information, but just couldn't locate it. And that's very true for traditional system. And I have my share of pain in my previous life as well. And paper report, of course, take up a lot of space. So everything is electronic nowadays, and in even electronic file, there has to be a good, better way to organize this as well. And that's where the import services come in. So what the import services does is at the time you generate your report, ECMXT will basically intercept. It can't sit in the middle, and you capture this report, and your endpoint may be to print to a PDF, but in between, what ECMXT does, import services does, is to capture all this information while generating the PDF, and you can store this PDF into ECMXT in a specified location so that you can actually retrieve that later easily. And the other thing is also, while it captures the report, it also captures all the information inside the report and make them searchable, which means that all the information in the report, when it goes to ECMXT, are searchable, especially the text. So you can actually search, even though we may not remember exactly where you put the information. Let's say a particular batch, let's say I want to get results from report from a batch number 1234, for example. Then I can search for batch 1234, right? Then I don't even need to know exactly where to find them, but I will be able to retrieve them in a timely manner, especially when doing an audit. And as I just mentioned, this actually reiterate I just mentioned, it really extract all the information. The word that we use is metadata, all the information from this report, and then make it searchable. And there's some example you can actually capture. You can even specify and populate in a different way. So for example, I want to capture and specify a sample name, test name, the person, the instrument used, I can actually structure that way. And then that will make the search actually faster as well, if you like. But I can also search, do global search in all the information in my document, which takes a little bit longer. But either way is all right. So, and you can also use that to aggregate data and do further analysis as well. So just to capture what I mentioned, for ECMXT, there are really different ways to secure data. The first one I mentioned earlier was using the import scheduler, which is the long-term archival of instrument data. If you go to every computer, instrument PC, or instrument computer in your network and look for any changes or any parameters in those files, instrument files, and if you meet the criteria, automatically you'll move into the central server. The most common way of using is for long-term archival. That means as the data become older, there's no need to store in your PC, then it will capture it automatically into ECMXT. And the good news is you don't actually need to remember when to do it, because all you need to do is just to set the policy, right? And if you have software like CDS, our CDS software, whether it's a CAM station or CDS2, or even our ICP-MS software, Mass Hunter software for ICP-MS, the connection is direct, which means it's a direct integration between ECMXT and this software. So it's immediate connection, immediate capture, and the connectivity is basically seamless. And as I mentioned earlier also, we are going to add more into this kind of integration as well. Then the second part, of course, is the report, which I just mentioned. And using import services, which allow you to print to PDF in a secure way into your server. And also along the way, the information in that report can be captured and become searchable. So those is how you capture all the data using ECMXT. So it's file, instrument file, as well as reports, right? So once you have done this, then the next question, of course, is managing all the records in your system, right? And as I mentioned, the things that people always ask, just let me go back a little bit, you may have, you need to find, locate the report and answer certain questions very quickly, whether it's doing your investigative work or whether it's in audit. And also sometimes you want to quickly see your data, and you may not even have all the software in your PC, but you still want to be able to access them and look at them. And some cases where, let's say if you're using CDS software, then you can actually also view it remotely using a web browser as well. So let me give you some idea. You can access the record, like what I just mentioned, in an organized manner. And if you use file, you know exactly what I mean, because these are the like a traditional folder structure, right? And you can see the folder. You can actually store inside the folder the way you want to structure. In this case, by year, by month, and so on. But this is all up to you how you want to organize. So it's always good when you start using a tool like this is to spend time to brainstorm how you want to structure all the data. Right? Even though you do not structure all the data perfectly, it's okay, because in the software, we also provide a different approach in terms of searching and retrieving the data as well. So you can see the panel on the left, which have different search parameters available. This is actually going to be, some of them actually customizable. There's long list that you can actually select and configure as well. And so you can use this approach in order to find the information you're looking for, right? And some of them are predetermined, like this week, how many this month, these are all the pre-configure. But you can also configure yourself. And the other beauty of this is, as you see all this, this is actually a web page. Now, why is it useful? Because in that case, if you can log in That means there's no need to install any software into your local computer. And you can log in locally. And if you have the right infrastructure, you can also log in remotely to access your reports and the information you need as well. So these are all the functionalities that allow you to do just through a web browser. So that's the beauty of using this kind of solution. Now, if you're using OpenLab CDS software, and you may want to look at data from your computer, but you may not have the software installed in your computer. That's okay, because with ECMXT, you can actually directly access the data, open a viewer, and you can actually see the results and see the chromatogram without even needing to install CDS2 software. So you make it very easy, flexible, especially for people who are maybe not always in the lab. Let's say the lab manager want to look at all the data. Maybe sometime they're on the move. Sometimes they maybe want to just look at it from their iPad or iPhone or Android device. They can do it very easily using this approach. And with all the changes and so forth in a regulated environment, one of the very important piece, or rather an important requirement, is version control. So what that means is every time I make changes, I will be able to capture the version along the way. Now, and all these are part of the audit trail. And also in this kind of environment, we typically do not overwrite any files, right? Because of traceability, you'll never know when you need it. So every time new, let's say you process data or you create a new document from the old one, and you put it back to ECMXT, you can see the version is being generated. Like this one version 1, this one version 2, right? And it may be version 3, version 4, and so on and so forth. Now, with all these different versions, another important piece is that you know what's the latest version. That's one. Second is that as and when you want to go back to see the previous version, they are still in your ECMXT server, which means that you can go back and check and even to look at what are the changes made, right? So this is very critical. And I also don't think I emphasize enough is that all these are done through a web interface. So that really makes life a lot easier, right? And just to highlight what I just mentioned, you can preview, you can search a document using a web-based interface, whether it's Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, or even other web browser, right? And also with ECMXT, it does track all the versions, any changes, and people can access, open, and review any version. That means any previous version can be opened and can be reviewed, right? And the other, I think it's a very interesting thing is that let's say you see this document, and I think this is the one that you want to highlight to your colleagues and your coworkers and so forth. All you need to do is just send them the link. Remember, this is a web browser. So all you need to do is just send them the link. They just click the link and we'll go to ECMXT. And of course, they need the right username, password to log in. And once they log in, they will immediately see the document. So we all see exactly the same document as well. So that also reduces the risk of, you know, people using the wrong version or wrong information for their work, right? So then, of course, you have just seen how to capture data and how to search data and also reports. Then the third part that I like to highlight is, okay, all laboratories are not static because over time you may have to have more instruments and more instruments as your capacity needed requirement grows. And With more instrument, logically, naturally, you have more people. And that also means generating more data. Then the question is how a system such as ECMXT is able to manage. Now, look at the laboratory. Maybe we start looking at the instrument. This is a typical CDS network with all the instruments around. And the way you need to add is just to have increase the number of connections license in the CDS software, and you can add the number of instruments. And the advantage for CDS, OpenLab CDS software is that there's no additional cost for name user license. So you can create as many usernames as possible. And also there's no additional other license as well. So the only one needed is actually the connection license. That is all is required. And when you add more computers in here, there's no need to add license as well. So no additional computer license, no additional user license for the CDS network. And all you need to do is get the connectivity connection license, connect to what we call the AIC, Analytical Instrument Controller. And just now I mentioned about the user, and of course now the storage capacity. Remember, data doesn't store over time. Data will move to the server. So you just need to make sure you can increase the server capacity over time. In a server hardware world, this is very easy to do. You can swap hard disks, you can build a redundancy, you can do a lot of things in order to ensure security. And on the right, you see a little icon. This is look like a cloud. And in fact, we are also moving towards this technology as well. So as well as everybody talk about cloud, to allow you to put things securely away. And at the moment, our system support the Amazon cloud. And I foresee there will be more interest coming along the way as well. And for the people in IT, they might be quite happy to hear. So this is for the IT folks who are listening to this session. It's because it's web-based, so implementation is actually quite straightforward. You do not need to install any software, and as you know, especially in regulated environment, as you install software, you also need to do IQ and OQ and so forth. So if it's a web-based tool, all the operation is in the server side. So then takes away all these qualification requirements, right? And because it's web-based, so there's no need for you to do any upgrade or anything on your local PC as well. And that reduces the validation cost. So it's actually quite significant. And also, there's no specific requirement on which browser is needed. It could be Microsoft Edge, it could be Google Chrome, it could be Firefox and others. So you can use different browser as well. And also there's no restriction on what kind of database you use, whether it's PostgreSQL, Microsoft SQL, or Oracle, because different organization has different in-house expertise. So they may have their own preference. So in this case, it's up to you to decide which one you want to do, right? So in conclusion, why OpenLab? We allowed you to automatically capture both the instrument data, whether, and especially you use it for long-term archival purposes. And as I mentioned, it is not just AGILENT instrument, but other instrument data as well. And I just also mentioned, even some of the database systems, such as EmpowerTree, we are able to capture and archive the data from their database as well. And automatically secure and file all the reports electronically. And so that you can basically able to search and retrieve them easily as well. And since all this information are stored in a structured way, and it makes it so much easier in order to locate the information and very quickly, especially during an audit. And really at the end, I hope it gives you a good impression on what the system can do. And just to summarize again, security, in terms of accessibility on privileges, centralize all the storage, traceability for all the audit trail. So that really gives us a way to manage our data differently now with ECMXT. And last but not least, I would also like to highlight the way we approach is more to have the software as a platform. So ECMXT is really a addition to our CDS software. So for people who are using CDS network software, they can simply upgrade to ECMXT. There's a migration upgrade path involved. The database remains the same, and you can see the look and feel of the software is also the same. So it also reduces the learning gap and so on. And if with this work together, it allows you to centralize all the chromatography data and also capture all the non-chromatography data as well as your report in a ways that meet all the data integrity requirements, right? And in the near future, AGILENT will also add a new solution in the area of LIMS and also ELN, electronic laboratory notebook. We call it S-LIMS, simple LIMS. So just stay tuned. There will be more information coming. With that, I conclude my session. I think it's just on time. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. And thank you.
Thank you, Kenneth, for your informative session. We have come to the Q&A session. To ask questions, please select all panelists in the drop-down menu and type in your question. Feel free to use Indonesian or English language, whichever more convenient to you. And we actually have a question already in the Q&A box.
Yes.
What is the software that can be used for all instruments or just AGILENT? And for instrument, must be connected to PC or portable instrument can be used?
Okay, the can be connected to actually many different instruments. Maybe I just qualify that when people say connection, actually we need to clarify is connection as control or connection as capturing the data. Connection as control is mainly today is actually is really on the chromatography side, LC and GC, and not just AGILENT. Certainly we can connect means we can control other brands, LC, GC, and instruments. Now, when you talk about connection as capturing reports and data, then it's actually quite wide. And that can include all kinds of different instruments as well as report. And there's really not much of a limit what you can capture. There's some restriction, but by and large, we'll capture pretty much all the different types of instrument data. And as you see, using the tools that we have, we can also capture the reports.
Okay, next question. What is the difference between your chromatography data and ECMXT?
Very good question. It's actually the same because it's actually, I would just like to highlight, traditionally in the past, we actually have two separate solutions. One is called OpenLab CDS, the other called ECM software. We call it classical ECM now. And what we decided to do is that instead of two separate tools, which are so important to work together, so actually we put them together, and that's why the name ECMXT comes from. So what it does is actually at the foundation, it control and capture data for the chromatography data. But in addition to that, it also capture all the different instruments, files, and so on. And as you can see, we connect to the ICP MS system for ECMXT, and you will see more instrument connection coming along as well. So the short answer to your question, actually, it's the same platform, same product.
Okay, I think we have limited time. I have one last question here. Is it suitable for secondary school science laboratory? I see that this is for advanced science lab in university.
Okay, let me see if I understand the question. Is this suitable for scientific laboratory, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I have seen, well, actually the question to ask is how important is your instrument data? In fact, I've seen user in the research environment. They use it because they want to secure the data. They don't want to lose it. Because organization change, people change, and those data does not belong to individual, and very often it belongs to the organization. So, and also they don't want people accidentally lost data as well. So if we can set up in such a way to automatically capture all this in a secure way, so the chance of losing valuable information is also lower. So the short answer also is yes, you can use it.
Okay, as time is limited today, if we did not get to your questions during today's webinar, we will follow up with you afterwards. And ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our presentation. Hope the session has been very useful to you. And we would like to say thank you for attending this webinar. Just a reminder to check out the agenda as we will be having 2 more technical sessions from AGILENT Technologies on Thursday and Friday. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.